Hey everyone, welcome. Today, we're going to go on a little detective mission. We're going to crack a secret code, one that's hidden in plain sight inside pretty much every script ever written. This is the code that really brings stories to life. So get ready, because our investigation starts now. You ever watch a movie or a play and just wonder, how does that actor know to look totally heartbroken right then? Or to walk nervously across the room, or shout with joy at the perfect moment? Well, it turns out they've got a secret instruction manual. Yep, they really are following a secret code. It's written right there on the page, kinda hiding between the lines of dialogue. And this code, it's the key. It unlocks the entire emotional world of the performance. And this code, it actually has a name: stage directions. You can think of them as the playwright's direct message to the actors, to the director, really to everyone. They're the unspoken part of the story, the part that explains all the action, the emotion, the movement, everything that brings the words to life. So what exactly does this code tell us? Well, pretty much everything. I'm talking where an actor should move, like walks to the window, or how they should say their lines, like whispering. It even tells them what to do while they're speaking, maybe something like sets the box down slowly. And maybe most importantly, it tells them what to feel. Now, here's the trick to spotting them. They're almost always written in italics or put inside parentheses. That's your big clue. Okay, so now that you know what you're looking for, let's put your new detective skills to the test. Let's see if you can match the clue to the feeling it's revealing. All right, let's look at our first piece of evidence. The script says he slams his fist on the table. So what's the emotion here? What should the actor be showing with that move? So does that action show shock, sadness, or anger? Think about it for a second. What would make you slam your fist on a table? Yes, if you were thinking anger, you absolutely nailed it. That one action is such a powerful nonverbal way to show pure frustration. Nice job. You've just cracked your first clue. Okay, let's do another one. The clue is she tiptoes across the room. Now, what feeling does that give you? Sadness? Shock? Or caution? Yep, it's got to be caution. Tiptoeing is all about being super careful, trying not to be seen or heard, right? You see how directly these actions are linked to the emotions? It's pretty cool. Like if the script says, tears fall as she hugs the sweater, that's a dead giveaway for sadness, maybe a little bit of longing. And what about, he gasps and stumbles backward? That just screams pure shock. See? You're reading the code like a total pro. All right, so you've totally mastered these individual clues. Now, let's zoom out a bit. Let's put it all together and see how these directions can shape the entire mood of a scene. So the scene we're looking at is called The Gift. It's pretty simple. Just two characters, Noah and his dad, and they're on a front porch right as the sun is setting. I mean, even that setting alone gives you a little hint about the mood, doesn't it? It's the end of the day, a time when things get a little more reflective. Okay, so the scene opens and Noah says his line. But pay attention to the stage direction, holding a crumpled card. Now, that's not just some random detail the writer threw in. No way. It's a huge clue about what's going on inside his head. So what does that one little action tell us? I mean, think about it. A perfectly crisp, clean card would feel really formal, maybe even a little distant. But a crumpled one? That tells you he's probably anxious or upset or maybe even regretful. You get the sense he's been worrying over this thing for a while. And now Dad responds. But, and this is key, before a single word comes out of his mouth, he does two really important things. He sits beside him, and then he places a hand on Noah's shoulder. These are seriously powerful, silent messages being sent right there. So what's the emotion behind that action? Is Dad annoyed? Is he in a rush? Of course not. Not even close. That simple, quiet gesture of just placing a hand on his son's shoulder, it's just overwhelmingly supportive. It's communicating comfort and love and understanding, all without him having to say a thing. So, when you put all these clues together, you've got the crumpled card, the setting sun, that quiet gesture from Dad, suddenly you get the full picture. The mood is thoughtful, maybe a little sad, but it's also deeply, deeply loving. The stage directions just told us the whole emotional story that the dialogue only kind of hinted at. And here's the cool part. This whole skill of reading actions, It's not just for breaking down scripts. Once you start noticing these unspoken clues on the page, you begin to see the true artistry behind the stories you love in a whole new way. There's this really beautiful quote that I think just captures this idea perfectly. It goes, "No line spoken, but the breath, the step, the way she looked away, said everything louder than words." And that, right there, that is the absolute heart of great storytelling. Let me give you a fascinating example of just how powerful a stage direction can be. So, at the end of this totally groundbreaking play by Henrik Ibsen called A Doll's House, the main character, Nora, decides to leave her husband and her family. Now, her final act isn't some big dramatic speech. The very last line of the entire script is just a stage direction. It reads, "The sound of a door slamming is heard from below." That one sound, that one action, was so shocking, so final, it literally became one of the most famous moments in the history of theater. And that really brings us right back to our secret code, doesn't it? In stories and, in real life too, we tend to focus on the dialogue, on what people are saying. But stage directions are this amazing reminder that the real truth of a character, all that subtext, is usually found in their actions. What they do when they aren't speaking. Well, that often says everything. So why does any of this matter? Why bother decoding these actions? Well, because it completely transforms you. You go from just being a passive member of the audience to an active observer. When you start noticing what characters do, not just what they say, you start to understand their real motivations, you can catch the foreshadowing, and you can appreciate the full, amazing artistry of the story being told, both on the stage and off. So, I'm going to leave you with a question to chew on. What's one stage direction, one quiet action or gesture that you've seen recently, maybe in a movie or a book, or heck, even in your own life? One that said way more than any words ever could. Thanks so much for decoding all this with me today.